Hello friends, this is Dr. Amarjit Kaur, Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University. I am author of 10 books and 58 research papers, and I have the privilege to teach at Valparaiso University in US and North Dakota State University in US. This is my privilege, this is my opportunity that today I am here with you to interact on a topic communication influence skills. So, this is a very important topic. In fact, communication per se is a very important subject. So, no matter you are working in as a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, or even a shopkeeper, you need to be good in communication, right? So, this is the importance of the subject for that matter. So, communication influence skill. What does come to your mind if you think about this topic? So, how one can influence others through communication, right? That's what it means in general. Just think of the scenario. Why do you say that in your class X person will go and talk to teacher to extend the date of assignment? You may have certain one or two uncle or aunties in your family who you think can convince your daughter, your son, your brother, your sister. We believe in that, right? So why is it so? How is it that uncle, auntie, or one person in your class or two people in your class you believe are able to influence other better than the rest of the class or rest of your family members, right? It happens. This is so true that we believe if he or she will go and talk about this topic, this concept, this issue, this problem, will be able to convince others, to whomsoever we need to convince. So that's what is actually in general the importance of influence skills, right? So that is in general. Look, so let's talk about what is influence skill at the first hand, and then we will proceed to communication influence skill. So influence skill is an act or power of producing an effect without apparent exertion of force or direct exercise of command. It can also be taken as the power of capacity of causing an effect in indirect or intangible ways. So, as this slide showed you that we are trying to create an effect but without any force, without any action of force. One can affect you by showing you a gun. That's not that's not influencing. That is under fear. That under problem. You are going to accept something. But here we are talking about that how can one affect the thinking or action of others simply by his or her overall persuasion, by having the influence skills. So it's a capacity basically. When we say influence skill is a power of somebody has or the capacity has to affect others indirectly or intangibly. So that's what influence is. So there are 4 common influencing skills we always talk. The people who can influence others are the one who have or who can rationalize. So rationalizing, asserting, negotiating, and inspiring and bridging. These are the 5 skills one who is known as good or having good influencing skills is supposed to possess. So as the first was rationalizing. So the person who is supposed to be having good influencing skill means he is somebody who can rationalize, can use logic, has rational thinking. So only then you will be able to influence others. If you are absorbed in your thinking, you are not clear, you are doubtful about your approach, then you cannot influence others. So first thing, the first trait of a general influencer is he has rationalizing skill. The second, as we read, was assertiveness. The person would be very, very assertive, sure, confident, and will be sure about the stand he or she is taking. And then moreover, the influencing skills also comprises negotiating skills. So people who are supposed to be able or having the capacity to influence others are known or are supposed to be good negotiators as well. So they are good negotiator means they can actually bargain by the thinking that I am going to give you will have these benefits, I am expecting this, and he or she will be able to reach to some consensus with the other party, whomsoever he is or she is trying to influence. And they are always inspiring. They inspire people with their action, with their words, with their body language, with their dressing. So this is how the general influencing skills means, and they always work as a bridge between whosoever wants to influence, or maybe at a workplace between the management, top management, and between the employees, or a bridging would be in the family, in the classroom, wherever the social setup. So bridge between who wants to get the things implemented and from whom they want to get it implemented. So they work as good bridging element. Now I will come to what is communication influence skill. We talked about in general the influence skill, and what is communication influence skill. So communication influence skills are abilities that helps you to impact a person's thought and action while communicating, interacting with them. One can provide information about oneself in a way that enables others to view him or her as a credible source. So it means that communication influence is, we are talking about the ability, the capacity, right? And capacity to do what? Capacity to impact others' thinking as well as action. Ultimate objective is to influence the action of the person whom you are communicating to. But before that, you need to influence the thinking as well. So thinking means you are supposed to have the capacity to make him or her think the way you want to, right? So that's what the we are trying to influence the thoughts of the person, and that will consequently will lead to the actions you want to him or her to do. So means desired action. And the same way one can actually provide information about oneself, you can talk about yourself in a way that will help others to think that you are a very credible source, you are a reliable source, your credibility is high. So this is how you are presenting yourself through communication. So that's what the communication influence skill means, that you are able to influence others through your communication. So it means that the way you talk and respond to others can affect them, and it also means that you can understand how someone feels while looking at their body language. So it means that you are trying to talk to somebody, or while talking to respond to somebody makes a question, and then you are supposed to intervene, and or maybe by asking question, or you need to, once he or she completes about his stand, his concern, you need to respond to the person, right? So by this process you are trying to affect others, their thinking and their action, and it's also that you understand that how can you how the other person is responding while you are talking. So understanding others' feelings by the body language, by reading their facial expressions, by reading or looking at the eyes, by different ways. So this is also means the communication influence skill. Further, influence is like making things happen by getting people to understand and do something. Communication is part of influence. It is not just about talking and sharing information, but about making ideas coming to life and having an impact. So it means communication in itself is a part of influence. So we started with influence. In general, influence means ability, capacity to make others think and act the way you want. So that total overall influence can happen by many ways. one of the factors which helps in influencing other is communication. So that's why we call that communication is part of influencing. So if you have communication influence skill, means you are better than the other communicator. We all talk all the day, right? After breathing, any activity a human does is breathing, is hearing or talking. So that is after breathing. So it means we all do communicate, but why is it so that one can be very effective and other is not? So exactly that's what we mean when we say communication influence skill. So making things happen the way we want, right? And by making the others understand, by asking or getting the things done the way you want. So it's basically getting the ideas, whatever your idea, your persuasion, your stand is, to come to life and have an impact on the listener, on the audience. If I go further, the communication is a part of influence, but you can communicate without actually making a difference. Why? While you cannot make a difference without communicating. It's a very powerful statement which is there in front of you. So communication is a part of influence, as I just mentioned a minute ago. So it means you can communicate without actually making a difference, without being able to impact others. But you cannot at all impact others. You cannot make a difference without communication, without communicating. So communication is the part of influencing skills, the overall influencing skill one has. So you may communicate without making a difference, without causing an impact, but to make an impact, it's essential that you do communicate, and that too you communicate effectively. So communication influence manifests in the delivery of your speech behavior and the quality of your responses. It also entails your ability to evaluate non-verbal cues, right? So as it is very clear that this ability to influence, it will result into your speech behavior, your quality of your response. One is what you say, that is your speech behavior. Another is how do you respond when somebody is asking questions, seeking feedback, objecting, giving some suggestion. So how do you respond? So both your speech behavior as well as your response, the quality of your response, they both come together as a powerful tool to influence others. That's what it also is an ability to read the non-verbal clues. So both, how do you speak, how do you respond while others are speaking, and how do you interpret the body language. These three things are there in the communication influence skills, right? So it means if someone wants to be a good communicator, so good communication influencer, if I may say, so here are certain traits. Number 1, assertiveness. Number 2, confidence. Number 3, active listening. And number 4, empathy. So 4 traits are desired if you really wish to be a communicating influencer, communicator, who can influence. So if you want to possess communication influence skill. So first of all, assertiveness. Be sure what you say, what you talk, right? So you take your stand and then you are assertive to that stand. That is the first trait required from you. So then second trait is you are confident about your idea, and that certainly requires certain background knowledge, background information, your overall personality, belief in your personality, belief in your thinking. You can't reach to that confidence. As I always tell my students, confidence doesn't come by saying that I will be now confident. No, unless you are having some good knowledge about the subject you want to be confident about. First read about that, gain knowledge about that, gain experience. Why is it so that people, doctors, who are senior after good years of experience, more confident about diagnosis than the juniors who just begin? Reason being, they gained experience, they gained knowledge by those, spending those 15-20 years, and they become consultant and they are confident about their diagnosis. And a new joinee just finishing MD may not be that confident as seniors are, right? So is for teachers, who is teaching 20 years from, taxation from the last 20 years. He or she will be more confident about the subject. So confidence comes by experience, by knowledge. A young person can also be very confident if he is well versed with the subject. A person could be more confident about certain things and may not be more as confident about other things, right? So confidence comes, and there are so many background factors for the for gaining confidence, but this is a trait one must possess to become communicator influence, or to possess communication influence skill. Another important aspect to be good in communication influence skill is that you are an active listener. Unless you have the capacity to listen, because as I said, it's just not the speaking part, it's the speaking part and then responding part. How will you be a good how will you be a good responder? You will be responding well if you are listening very well, right? You will get to hear others well, you will get to think, comprehend what others are saying. And for that, active listening doesn't mean ignoring the body language. So active listening means listening the words the person in front of you is talking, and also they are reading their body cues together. And the fourth point, under traits is that you should have the empathical thinking, the critical thinking along with the empathical thinking. You should be able to put yourself in others' shoes. That way you will be able to, that way you will be able to influence others more, because you will be able to correlate, associate with the concern he or she is raising, with the point he or she is raising. So having an empathical, approach and trait is very, very important to become, communication influencer, if I may say so. Well, so after this, friends, we are going to talk about further that what all traits are required in communication influence. The fifth point here is persuasion. Sixth point is critical thinking. Then the seventh point is the negotiation. So we have persuasion, critical thinking and negotiation, another 3 points. So another trait one is supposed to possess to become good communication influencer, or to be known for communication influence skills is persuasiveness. I made a point, right? I am able to speak well, I made a point, but if I am not assertive and I cannot pursue that idea, I cannot pursue with people for the action desired from them, then I cannot be known as good, a person with good communication influence skill. To be known as a person of a good communication influence skill, I should be having the trait of persuasion. I should not give up. I should be pursuing it unless the desired action is received, right? So persuasion becomes essential trait for anyone to be known in communication influence skills. Critical thinking really goes without saying. Critical thinking is to be able to look the complete picture beyond what is visible, and to look into all the do's and don'ts, all the logical, all the rational behind that situation or the problem. So having critical thinking is essential trait for anybody to become an effective communication influencer. And then lastly, negotiation. As I said, our ultimate objective through communication influence skill is to reach out to an actionable situation where we could get our idea, our thinking implemented, and that requires a negotiation skill. You shall be able to negotiate well with others whomsoever you are trying to pursue with. So that is a negotiation trait which is desired by someone to become a effective communication influence person. Then I will talk about certain points how to improve communication influence skill. So there are a couple of points I want to make here, friends. So first point is look for commonalities. Then the second point is pay attention to what speaker is saying. The third point is ask insightful questions, and the fourth point is request feedback. So we shall be discussing this now one by one. Look for commonalities. What does it mean? You want to improve your communication influence skill. So it means when you meet somebody and you start conversation. Let's say I met my team members. I'm a sales head in a company, and I am going to meet my team members for the first time. Let's say there are 8 people. Now all the 8 people will be of different height, different background, maybe different religion, maybe different geographical area, educational qualification, and maybe having different product line, right? So those people they are looking after different product line. Fine. Now it is your job, as you want to be a good having a good communication influence skill. So it's your job to see what is common between you and him or her. So the common point could be that you are a science graduate, the other person, out of those 8 person, one is a science graduate, right? So this becomes a common commonality between you and the receiver whom you are communicating to. Another could be that you both graduated from the same college. Third is that you and somebody else whom you are talking to, they come from the same city, same, if not same city, from the same state. I am also from Bihar, you are also from Bihar. I am from UP, you are from UP. I am from Punjab, you are from Punjab. Wow. And if you are at an international platform, maybe the person communicating to you is from the same country. I am from India, you are also from India, right? So we can begin the conversation. So we should look for commonalities. I have worked through my career so far in the semiconductor industry. Wow, there's a commonality. I have worked with X person. He was my boss at Y company, and you have also worked with the same person, and he was your boss at another company in the past. So that is a commonality. So we should look for commonalities to begin the conversation with. Why? You should think about why I'm advocating that one should look for commonalities. Reason being, the moment we have some commonality, we are able to identify a commonality and communicate that this is common between you and me. This opens up the association. This opens up the gates for association, right? So you are able to connect with. Because ultimate objective of good communication influence skill is to influence action of others, right? And to influence action, we have to influence thinking. To influence the thinking, we need to communicate effectively. To communicate effectively, it's better to have common points, commonalities being identified and talked. So that was the first point in improving communication influence skill. The second point, as we saw, was pay attention to speaker. So a speaker is speaking, and it's a matter of regard or disregard that you ignore the person just by looking here, there, this side, that side. How will it feel like to you if you are talking to somebody and the person is looking up, down, here, there, out of window? It is a mark of disrespect, and you will never be able to connect with him, right? The same thing happens for you if you want to become a good communication person with good communication skill. you need to be sure that you are paying attention to speaker. You need to make sure that the speaker feels that you are attentive, the speaker feels being heard, the speaker feels being respected, right? So this is the second point, the second thing you need to work at, to improve your communication influence skill. The third point is you should be asking insightful questions, which means basically feedback. If you are talking to somebody, you started some point, he or she made some point, and then in response, if you are making some good question, one, it ensures that you are listening to the person. It also ensures that you actually comprehend the information, whatever he or she, or the point he or she made, very well, and it helps you to negotiate further. It helps you to decide to empathize with the person or not. If yes, to what extent. It also, so the insightful questions can help you to lead in a very effective communication, to lead to very effective negotiation as well. So develop an habit to ask insightful questions which answer your query, which further leads further conversation, leads to help the person understand that what he or she is desired to work at, or what is the actionable point from his side or her side. And last point, as I said, always request for feedback. You are giving insightful question means you are giving feedback to him or her. And when you request for feedback, it means you are giving the other person an opportunity to express his or her stand and to help you connect with him further. It helps you to make your point modified or present in a different way if required. So the moment you seek the feedback, you will get to hear that how my first stand or information went into his or her mind, right? So this is the fourth and the last point that you should be developing to influence communication influence skills. With this we will end up now. Thank you.